Hello, and welcome to our Vampire the Masquerade 5th Edition Chronicle, Toronto by Night. This is the second part of our limited series, and as a warning, this is a mature game and it explores some dark and troubling themes. These may include body horror, gore, violence, loss of character agency, gaslighting, mind control, and many others. Our players have discussed consent and boundaries, and we collectively avoid situations that may be triggering. If you, as a viewer, ever feel triggered or uncomfortable about a situation, feel free to pause and step away. Our streams are always going to be on YouTube after the game, so you can always come back to an episode when you feel ready, or skip ahead to the next one. So first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Mikhail Artoria of Artoria Designs, who creates these beautiful dice boxes. Please visit him on Instagram, and I will put the links in the chat. Generally, he's going to be over there. So you can contact him and throw some money in his direction. He does changeling boxes, he does vampire boxes, possibly hunter boxes, who knows, now that that's coming out. And Dogmite Games. Dogmite Games is the best gaming company you've ever heard of. They combine craftsmanship with artistry to create truly unique pieces of functional art for your game, from dice boxes and rolling trays to fully sculpted Valhalla screens for GMs. Each piece is created on site in their workshop in Michigan by a devoted team of craftsmen. And I have the Gangrel one, because Gangrel is the best clan. You can disagree and be comfortable in how wrong you are. So now it's time to introduce our vampires. Starting up in pole position number 1 is Cliff.
Happy Time Zone viewers, my name is Cliff. This evening I am appearing to you as Barker, who may appear, or being Nosferatu, may not.
And Joanna.
Hello, my name is Joanna, and I will be playing Eloise Trent this evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you may be. Both of our pronouns are she, her, and she is a Ventru, Clan of the Kings, and damn proud of it.
And Prince.
Hey everybody, I'm Prince, also known as Doubles of Dice around the internet, and I am playing Ali Sue, the Salute. Both of our pronouns are he, him. This is going to be a good time.
And the special guest for this particular chronicle is Anne.
Hi, my name is Anne. I will be playing Diana Chambers, the Toreador Lounge singer. Our pronouns are she, her.
And this guy's Storyteller Steve, and I'll go through a quick rundown of what happened in episode 1, but you can go to the YouTube just over there. So episode 1 had the coterie, who all know each other, starting off in the Cloak Bar. The Cloak Bar is a speakeasy in downtown Toronto, which is an actual real location, but their location is basically a sub-basement of that, a kindred and ghoul-only venue. And they realized at one point that there was going to be a bit of strife between the two different factions that are currently existing in Toronto, which is the Camarilla and the Anarchs. There was a bit of tension between the two sides in the Cloak Bar, which generally is a kind of a neutral venue between the two. So after they diffused that situation, they were paid a visit by the Scourge of Toronto, which is Samson, a very, very large Brujah. And he explained the situation, that he had been there to see if there was going to be any fighting and to squash any fighting if necessary, and to potentially give this particular coterie a job to do, which would be to have a conversation with some of the shape changers in Toronto, as the prince has gotten it in her head that one of the things that she can do to create peace between the kindred and the other various supernaturals in the city of Toronto is to make deals with them and see if they can forge some sort of alliance, much like Vancouver had back in the 90s. They then, after a bit of debate back and forth, a little bit of haggling, decided that it was time to have a chat with Drake, but not that Drake. Drake, the leader of some of the Scarborough Anarchs. They went to the Scarborough Bolorama, which is a place that Drake is known to frequent, and had a chat with him. And they realized that despite what they were told, the Anarchs that showed up at the Cloak Bar may not have been connected with Drake. So that particular mystery has deepened. So we're going to open up this particular episode in probably a few minutes once Joanna is done dealing with the cat. No, I'm kidding. This will be the next evening, and I'm going to get a rouse check from everyone.
Roll for me.
All right. I apparently am rolling for Joe. No, she got it. It's fine.
Success.
Success. Thumbs down for the Nosferatu Barker, and thumbs down for the Salubri Ali. So, Barker, you hear the kind of Danny DeVito-esque
The dulcet tones of my sire.
Hey, Barker, Barker, yeah, listen.
Yeah.
It's time to eat. You gotta probably eat something. I don't know,
Yeah, I'll grab a bag upstairs or something. Yeah.
roll off this whatever pile of.
So do you like hang in my dreams, which I don't remember, and then you just wait to like fucking pounce when I wake up? Because
Yeah.
every morning, every night lately,
Well,
every
I gotta
freaking
tell
night.
you, your dreams are kind of messed up. That's kind of why I'm here.
Have you met me? You made me.
Yeah,
Not that you like stuck around a whole lot.
I'm pretty sure
but,
at
you
some
know.
point in time or another, I probably have met you.
Yeah, I'm figuring. Back alley, behind the wheat sheaf. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so yeah, things are weird. Have been for centuries. Yeah, I'll grab a bag.
All right, come on, step on it. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll get there. Jesus. And I thought that my stomach would be giving me issues, but no.
Well, I mean, technically, I am your stomach. And that's the last you hear about that.
Yeah, that's good.
And Ali, you hear the voice of someone who you've never actually met. But you remember something that they did say, which was along the lines of only the strong ones are going to dig their way out. So you hear, hey, you should probably eat someone.
Why?
'Cause,
Why does my head suddenly hurt?
well, it's probably shovel related.
Those are bad times. Are you trying to remind me of like my trauma?
Technically, I'm responsible for your trauma.
Oh, you're that asshole.
Give or take. 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Lucky I can't get rid of it. Except I could. I'd rip you to shreds. Just like I did everybody in that grave.
That wasn't really fun times, was it?
But that was the least hungry I've ever been.
Right? That's why I keep suggesting for you to eat somebody.
I was also a savage back then. I'm not doing that anymore. changed until I don't need to be changed.
Hey, look, man. You can say that you've changed. You can tell everybody else in your coterie. But you can't bullshit me, man. Come on.
You're trying to get me there before I'm ready, and I'm not ready yet. I will go to therapy if I need to. I might eat my therapist, but that's another story.
I
You
mean-
don't leave me alone.
There's always Dr. Netchurch.
You know what? This is why I need you to stop talking. You just have terrible suggestions. Everything.
So, that's the last you hear about that. Is anyone making any preparations before going to the kind of standard meeting place of the sub-basement of the Cloak Bar?
I actually would like for Diana to grab a bite,
Okay.
you know, upstairs before she comes down. I feel like she would just, you know, chat up a patron and flirt and
Okay.
do Toreador things.
Toreador things. So, for that...
But not that Toreador thing where she gets violent. That's a different Toreador thing.
There's several different Toreador things, let's be honest. For chatting somebody up, though, let's go with a charisma, and I will leave this up to you as to which you go with, a performance or persuasion. Possibly etiquette, but this wouldn't really be an etiquette type situation. And apparently there's a lot of cats in this location.
Let's go. I'll go. No. I'll go with a performance.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that. Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4.
And including one of those dice is replaced with hunger.
I'm at. Oh wait, I have 2 hunger from last time. I
Okay.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, you'd be
2. 1,
You'd be 2 because you didn't increase your hunger this time around when waking up. So yeah, you're at 2 hunger.
Yep. Yeah. That's good. Okay. If I'm not activating any presence related things, it doesn't count, correct?
It would not. Yeah, you could activate awe if you wanted to. That is a free power, so you
Okay,
don't have to
yeah.
risk hunger with that.
Cool, because that would be kind of counterproductive because I'm trying to eat.
So
All right.
activation, I believe, is charisma plus presence to activate that.
That's excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. Oh, hello. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
For the charisma presence.
Yeah, charisma presence is 5.
Okay, and then now that awe is active, you can, with your persuasion or performance roll, to charm the person who's in the upstairs cloak bar, you would add your presence rating to that roll. So it would be charisma plus performance plus presence.
Fine, this is not overkill at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of dice.
Hey, look, I'm good at one thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes.
5 successes? Yeah, it's easy enough to get a hold of somebody and talk them into doing what you want to do, which is going probably to a dark corner. You kind of lay on the charm a little bit, and then you go in for a bite. And how much hunger are you trying to get rid of?
Could I get away with clearing the hunger for the night without incident?
The problem with it is you can go to 1 hunger easily. You can take 1 hunger away.
1 tiny nibble.
But if you want to get rid of that last hunger, because everyone has a default of 1, to get rid of the last hunger, you have to drain someone dry.
Okay, all right. I'll just clear the 1, just a nibble.
Okay.
Cool. I like this. Good situation. Right. I'm gonna clear that. I'm back to 1 hunger.
You could go all the way like a touchdown. Just drain it.
Not tonight.
Allie is a bad influence. Wow.
Allie used to be SWAT. What do you want? He's doing his best.
What Diana does on her private time is that's a different thing.
That is
Anyway.
also true. So, is anyone else doing anything before heading off to the bar?
I
What
think
was this place
Eloise
we're
would have
going-
just.
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
I was going to say, I think Eloise would have just checked in on the books and also checked to see if there had been anything going on weird in the bar before everybody woke up, in terms of reports from many of the bouncers and or like anything on the security cameras that would have seemed off. Would she have noticed anything?
Is a negative on that,
Okay.
due to the fact
Okay.
that the Cloak Bar is generally it's got kind of standard bar hours, which means that kind of once the sun-ish goes down, probably about 6 to more likely around 7 or 8 it opens, and it hasn't gotten to that particular point in the evening as of yet. So
Okay.
I generally do the kind of old LARP trick that we used to do, which is sundown is 6 p.m., sun up is 6 a.m. You got free reign to do whatever you want to do between those two particular points in time. Because, let's be honest, we're recording on Monday. It's like 6:25 and the sun is out behind me, so
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, that's all Eloise would have wanted to do, so she would be heading downstairs.
okay. Barker or Allie, are you two gents doing anything?
I think Ali would be the person that takes pictures of this place before we go in. Kind of scope the place out ahead of time.
Which place?
Where were we planning on going tonight? It was or did we not have a plan on this?
I think we came back from
That's right.
the Scarborough
Never mind.
Bolorama, and we hadn't actually scoped any place or figured out what
Never mind.
was going
Yeah.
on just yet.
I thought we had decided a place to go. In that case, no.
We can decide on a place to go if you'd like.
No. I instead of bringing the camera, then we'll bring a gun.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
It pays to be prepared.
Either way, something's probably gonna get shot. And Barger, any special preparations before you all meet up at the Cloak Bar? No? Alright. So let's do a quick little fast forward, get everybody to the Cloak Bar. The bar itself is not open yet. I'm assuming you all kind of took care of things. The bartenders are behind the bar, kind of readying things, making sure that, you know, even though they did the cleanup at the end of the night previous, that they're, you know, doing a quick once over of the tables, prepping all of the various liquids that are behind the bar. And it is pretty much just the coterie itself that is in there right now, other than the employees.
So, has anyone heard back from the prince at all? Nothing? All right.
Expect to
I
hear
guess-
back.
I was hoping.
That's the thing you gotta learn to get away from. Hope is
Ah,
bullshit.
well, I mean, what's the point if there's no hope, right?
Samson said that we would get a response back tonight, but he didn't say when tonight. And I don't remember if we ever told him to call us or anything.
Listen,
Yeah.
no prince ever goes around without a little bit of flexing of their power. So putting us on ice for a little while would not be surprising at all. Just to say, hey, we work on your schedule, not us on or them on ours.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm still kind of wanting to figure out what happened. Who were those clowns that came in here yesterday and started stirring up shit? If they're not the Baron's people, then whose are they?
People with a friggin' death wish.
Well, that's true. Parker, you don't have a lead on them, do you? Like, you don't have any like underground info on anything that's been going on?
Storyteller?
Yes. What is the question? Sorry.
So through contacts or word on the street kind of thing, have I got any idea of what's been going on?
Your contacts are puzzled. They seem to be. There is something going on, but they're not quite sure what. There is strife between the Anarchs and the Camarilla. This much is pretty evident, but they're not quite sure after doing a bit of digging and after kind of leaning on them a little bit. They are pretty much as clueless as you are right now. They know that there is strife happening, but they can't, like, they've talked with people who are in various camps, and everyone's kind of getting the same reaction as to what the coterie got last night with Drake, wherein they're kind of going, I don't know, like, it wasn't us. We didn't go over there and do it. We have no idea what's going on.
So people know that shit's happening, but nobody knows who's burning the bridges.
Yeah.
All right. So, I mean, if that's the case, Barker, then where do we go from here? Ideas?
God, me, I'm not the ideas guy.
Well, okay, so I was thinking, we'd go with my idea from last night and reach out to some of the other speakeasies in the area, like from our collective contacts, and see if they've been feeling this tension, see if they know anything. Also, they may not be Drake's people, but it would be good for us to look into other Anarch barons, maybe a little bit closer to home, see if they've got anything to do with this. Scarborough's a bit far, so I don't know if that's where
I'm actually pretty curious on the whole princess thing, right? Like those who claim that they're representing the Camarilla, right? What if they're the same? What if they're not princess people? They don't know them either.
Then from there, we have to ask the question, are they on the same team and just trying to mess with everybody equally?
Well, here's the thing. A prince should know all of the kindred that come into the city. They'd at least have to present themselves. So if they're not, or if they are, we have a lead. If they're not, well, we have something strange, and we got to see where they might have came in from and who would have brought them.
Fair enough. Storyteller. Eloise has some points and contacts, and I think one of the things that she would want to be doing is following Diana's advice and calling up some of the proprietors in the area that I'm going to assume that two in context would probably be some of them.
We also have like part of the coterie stuff.
Yeah.
3 dots of contacts there for speakeasies.
Okay.
So,
Oh, yes. Okay. That works. Forgot about that. Okay. So do we need to roll or anything, storyteller?
No, it's pretty much just a kind of spend the point for the evening type thing.
Okay.
That's the way I do it. So you're reaching out, and what are you asking them in specific?
Asking them if there's been any unusual tensions between factions and things like that have been going on in the bars, because the general idea is that most of them that do own these bars, usually they're pretty neutral, is my assumption, for the most part at least. So whether or not they've been getting any tensions as well.
You'd get back that there was nothing for like weeks. Like there's always the odd, tussle here and there. You get a bunch of vampires together and occasionally the fight breaks out. But it's been more and more frequent over the last like week than it has been for like months previous.
So the fights actually erupted,
Yeah.
as opposed to us having stopped them. Okay. So Eloise will convey that to the group that this is happening all over the city.
okay, here's a question. Are those other places neutral like ours, or are they leaning towards a particular faction?
The thing that kind of like starts it off, like the spark, seems to be 9 times out of 10 from what you're getting back from the various contacts. It seems to be kind of the Anarch faction that's the one that's picking the fight.
Okay. And the actual speakeasies that Eloise has reached out to, are they neutral? Like, where do they?
They're like the speakeasies kind of fall under the same umbrella as yours. Like, so long as you come in, drink your blood, talk, make deals with people, whatever. So long as you keep things kind of above board and not like pick fights or anything, generally you'll be accepted and not worried about in the speakeasy. So yeah, it's kind of it's an unofficial type Elysium setting, or it's not like an official Elysium declared by the prince, but it's just kind of commonly known in the area as neutral ground.
So it's not just us.
Now, if we got questions to ask Prince Morgan, and she did send Samson to our house, we could go knock on their door and visit their Elysium.
Not a bad idea.
See what we could shake up there.
Yeah, I'm certainly not to shake up something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not polite to kick in the door and demand to talk to the prince because they're like hoity-toity and all. They're knobbing around, but that's Elysium. Who knows who's hanging out there that knows something?
Yeah. You can shake a tree and you get an apple, or you can get bees.
Oh, bees.
Oh, bees. All right.
Yeah, I'm good with bees.
Everybody in? We're gonna take a little jaunt over to Elysium.
Yeah, I've been to the ramen.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
gotta
would
be decades.
Fun.
Decades.
I'm gonna make sure to keep this off the record.
Yeah. That's a preference. All right. So let's get something going. I think Eloise is gonna make a call to get a driver and a relatively nondescript vehicle for the group.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think the Beamer is best for nondescript.
Yeah. Just getting some sort of a nondescript kind of sedan sort of thing, which in and of itself is probably descript because of that. But
Not
yeah,
in this area of Toronto.
fair.
So you're headed over to the Elysium, which is at the Royal Ontario Museum. The ROM is kind of well known in Toronto. It's used to be kind of an older building by itself, but there have been a number of improvements since Barker has last darkened the door of the ROM, as they say. There's the old facade of the building still exists, but part of it is inside of a large kind of crystalline looking structure with sharp angles and glass and metal bits. It's an interesting looking building for sure, and I'll post a link to it in the chat so everybody who's watching at home can see what it is that I'm describing. So you go in. The ROM is definitely closed generally by this point in time of the evening. There's the odd one-off event here and there. These are the odd school science class sleepover type thing. None of those are happening this evening, but the ROM has signs out that are posted saying that it has been reserved for a special event, which you can do with the ROM. You can basically rent it out if you have the cash available, which the Camarilla most certainly does. There's not a lineup outside, but there are people who are mingling about in various high fashion clothing. You can even see like a Nosferatu who you can't tell that it's a Nosferatu just by looking at them, but you've seen this suit before, and it is generally worn by the Nosferatu named Sal. And there's, the odd person hanging out here and there. Are you approaching the building itself to walk into the Elysium?
Well, before we even get in the car, I'm going to throw up mask. So I roused successfully for that because
Okay.
I don't want to scare
And
kids and small puppies. And when we get out of the car, Barker's going to kind of look up and go, and this is why I don't come above ground. You fuckers keep changing shit. It's not always for the better. What the hell is this?
It'll grow on you, Barker.
I got things growing on me. I don't always appreciate them.
I mean, that's fair. You have a
Fungus
point.
grows on me. I mean, I hope I don't get anything sharp and glassy like this growing on me. That'd be really awkward. Okay. Huh. Humans. Yeah.
And as a sub note, just a little bit of bookkeeping, I am assuming Barker also grabbed a quick drink whilst at the cloak.
Oh, if I could, yes, I would.
Yeah.
Excellent.
If anybody was down blood and needed a refresher, if you wanted to grab
Hold
something
on.
at cloak.
I have to roll my willpower to see if this works.
Oh,
Oh dear.
My understanding is that Eloise didn't go up in Hunger Storyteller.
She did not.
Okay, and she
She-
was at 1 before, so she doesn't need to have a drink.
Correct. That's a negatory. All right. So you failed
Take a
your
sip.
willpower
It's like-
roll.
Nothing like nomming on the road thing.
Yeah,
Nothing
you
like it.
do not like it. You kind of go down a hunger, but then you go back up a hunger, and you hear in the back of your head like, "Man, that's gross. Why you gotta drink that shit, man?"
I thought, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And then I tasted it, and it's just,
No, yeah. Does this look like Rome to you? Just a question. Just
you take care of this later. I don't have time for it right now. Nope, don't have time for you right now.
So, let's fast forward it back to the Elysium. Are you approaching the building to be entered in? There's the kind of standard, for those of you who have attended Elysiums in the past, there's a, kind of large ghoul that is there at the door. Generally, they try to maintain that people who are going in are only of the kindred persuasion. So they stop you before you get to the door and they're like, yeah, what do you want?
Here to see the prince on business.
Name?
Eloise, Diana, Terrence, and Barker.
And he grabs an iPad, starts scrolling through it. Takes a good long peer at Barker.
If I gotta have Sal vouch for me, I'll have Sal vouch for me. Otherwise, I respect you doing your job, but not that much.
Hey man, I just gotta do my job.
Yeah, I know.
It pays the bills. Alright. You can go in.
Thank you. It's appreciated.
And upon entering this particular entrance, it is the one that's close to the old facade of the building. So you enter in, and there's, over on the left, you can see that there's an older style building that seems to be encapsulated by the large crystalline looking thing, which seems it's kind of off-putting a little bit because you're looking at the outside of a building, but it's inside of another building that does not in any way, shape, or form look like a regular building. It's like the crystalline structure kind of enveloped the other building and kind of grew over top of it, much like a crystal would in nature.
Looks like what they were talking about in Night of the Roxbury. Bring the outside inside. And it looks like it worked about as well as it did during that movie. So cool.
Which was not good.
I don't know. There were bits.
And while you're in there, there are a few people milling about in this particular area. There is some gaggles of different kindred that you can tell they're kindred at this particular point. Their eyes aren't blinking necessarily. There doesn't seem like they're breathing, but they are talking amongst each other, and it's an Elysium. Deals are being made, contacts are being contacted. There's a general kind of feeling that you're amongst the predators. So what do you all do from here?
Sweet home, man.
Sorry?
I said home sweet home, eh?
Yeah. All right. Shall we get a move on then? This place kind of gives me the I don't even know how to describe it. It just doesn't feel like home.
What do the kids say? Hashtag art.
I mean, I would prefer to be standing in the art gallery, but we're here now.
I mean, the prince made a choice, I guess. No accounting for taste.
Speaking of the art gallery, Diana, I'm gonna get a willpower roll from you.
Oh, balls.
Just
Okay.
all black dice.
It's
No
the
hunger.
yeah, okay. Hold on. I know what's up. No hunger.
And you're all at
So
full
my
willpower from last time, so
all so 6 of them? Is that
yeah.
so my yeah, okay. This is uh that's 2 successes?
As you're making your way through the Elysium with your coterie,
Hmm.
something catches your eye. It's a painting. It's a kind of expressionism. There's various colors. It definitely catches your eye, and you glance over at it, and you're kind of transfixed for about 3 or 4 seconds. But then you realize, no, I can't do this right now. I have to not look at this painting for 3 hours. I have something that I need to do, and then you kind of join up with the rest of the coterie once again.
Sorry about that. Just got a little caught up. It's fine. Let's move forward. Yep.
I think Alia's not the best with Elysium etiquette, and it's probably just like, where's the prince? We have to talk to the prince. Can someone point us to the prince? We need to really find out about who was in our club and why they decided that getting violence was a good idea.
So there's like this unspoken question in Diana's eyes looking to Eloise that because they've worked long enough, it's, that unspoken question of, do I take the lead or do you take the lead?
By all means. Is
I
basically the look Eloise gives Diana that after you kind of look.
Okay. Question, when I activated off, that was a different scene, right?
That
So
was a
that's
different
no
scene.
longer
Yeah, you
no
would have
longer
to
thing.
reactivate it. But as a
Okay.
caution to you as a player, generally, not always, but generally in Elysiums are kind of non-power areas.
It's a no flex zone.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No flex zone. I like that.
Well, yeah. There's the odd discipline that you're aware of that you are allowed to use in Elysium, like if it's a public venue, like Barker using Mask of 1,000 Faces to disguise the fact that he is a Nosferatu.
Well, basically, if it helps to keep the masquerade,
Yeah.
like not breach the masquerade, then it's cool, but no flexing. I figured that much. I just wanted to clarify if my previous use of power was a problem.
Previous use of power? No. That's
no.
fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like not still active. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, it turned off probably around the time that you got into the sub basement of Cloak when you went down there.
Excellent. Okay. I don't know how often I would have gone to Elysium as a generally unaffiliated kindred. Would I know what the etiquette / protocol is to have an audience with the prince?
As a Toreador, you would definitely know. I would say you've probably been to Elysium a lot more often than Barker. Not necessarily like every Elysium you show up, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder, and you would kind of, limit some of the times you would go to the Elysium.
Depends on whether it fits my schedule, my performing schedule.
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. So whatever etiquette and protocol dictates, I will do that.
It's kind of just it's not necessarily unnerving. It's just kind of minorly shocking that as soon as Ali starts to make inquiries, like, where's the prince? We got to get in touch with the prince. Someone is not necessarily popping out of nowhere upon you, but they come walking up to you rather quickly. And it is someone that I'm not sure if Barker would have any necessarily contact with this person or Ali, but Eloise and Diana, you would notice that this is a toreador named Jean Francois.
Oh boy.
He is completely and utterly dressed to the nines. 17th century, like kind of French, absolute glamorous clothing. He's got the kind of poofy wrist things. He's got the powdered wig, the powdered face. He's got the kind of mole on his face. He's got the buckle shoes that look like they're made of gold. And he's like, "Oh, I know where you can meet the prince. I definitely know that. Look at you all. Look at you. You are, if I remember correctly," and there's somebody following behind him who has like a scroll. And they're
Bonjour. Bonsoir, Jean-François. Comment ça va?
Charmed.
I hope you don't
sure.
mind. I wanted to make you feel more comfortable.
No need for that. No need for that at all. So, you wanted to meet the prince, did you? And what is it in regard?
There is something we would
Business.
like to bring to her attention, and I would like to see if she has time to meet with us. We had a visit from her Scourge.
Samson.
Last night.
He is such a brute. Such a brute. It was a pleasant meeting.
Okay,
I hope.
at least you're straightforward, unlike some of you.
You wound me, sir.
No, that's a compliment for you.
Oh, yes. Well, I do suppose it is. Yes.
In case we have business with the prince that requires following up, if you don't mind.
Indeed. And just so I have all of the information that I need, what are your names? Jacques? Take a note.
I am Diana Chambers. This is Eloise Trent. Player clarification. What is do I, like, at this point, would I be giving Terrence's name?
No, in Elysium you can use Alisu because it's not out in public.
Well, I just don't know how your character is introduced to the prince or whatever.
Yeah, it would be Ali because that's the prince. That's what they would have on record here. But
this is Barker and Ali Sue.
Oh yes. Right. So, and what is it with regards to what you have to understand? The prince's time is very valuable.
I absolutely understand. We will call
someone
it
who's using your
follow-up.
God's name in vain, essentially. They're coming in claiming the prince is inspiring them to do violence in places they're not supposed to. I don't think that the prince would necessarily take too kindly to that.
Oh dear. That is a concern. Note that down. Okay.
How about we don't note that down? We don't need any record because the prince may not want this sort of thing on record. I'm keeping the prince's reputation in mind. Maybe don't note it down, maybe just let us in.
Dear Eloise, you said yourself that it is likely not the prince that is doing this, so we will maintain a record. It's part of my job as Harpy.
I understand that it is a part of your job, but what if you put it on record that we are here to follow up from our meeting with the Scourge last night? That would be a nice official record, and it would be due diligence, and then we can address the details when we get our audience with the prince.
Yes,
Jack?
yes. Excuse my bluntness.
Jack, right, make the appropriate adjustments in the log. So, it is with regards to that. Let's see, it is, and he looks up, and there is a clock face that is on the old facade of the building. Let's see, it is 8 o'clock now. If you would be all available at 8:30, I believe the prince will be able to see you at that particular point in time. She just has a little bit of business to take care of first.
Absolutely.
If it's agreeable to everyone else.
Indeed.
Fair enough.
And
In that case, I bid you adieu until then.
Merci beaucoup, Jean-Francois.
And he wanders off with Jacques in tow.
I bring up heightened senses immediately to hear what he's saying.
He's not
I
actually
also
saying-
have heightened senses.
just in case the conversation as they walk away, I'm listening.
He doesn't actually say anything. He seems to be, well, not anything with regards to any of you. He's just, seems to be that he's taking notes, and he's like, okay, so they will be in at 8:30. Who is the 8:45? And then there's a mention of a Sal. And then they kind of wander out of earshot at that particular point in time, because with his particular heeled shoes, that particular area of the ROM is extremely cavernous. So any clipping or walking on that area would just reverberate and echo back to you, especially with heightened senses on.
is everyone okay? I know this is a little bit unnerving in general. This whole place is a little bit. Is everybody good?
I mean, he just had such a punchable face.
Oh, I
It
know.
was just shaped for just.
Oh, I know. It's French money pretending that there is still a French monarchy. It's the strangest effing thing.
Ugh.
God save the queen.
Is he storyteller just as a flavor note? Do I know if Jean-Francois is from like Quebec or something?
So
Or is he
as-
just
So far
is-
as you know, he would not. He would be like he would be dressing kind of
Oh,
like
heck.
like the era that he was embraced in.
Okay. Just, I do come to Elysium from time to time. I try not to pay him any mind. Hurts me to see a little. He's a bit of a tryhard.
Well, I mean, we've got some time to kill. Any suggestions? Anyone you guys want to talk to? Anyone you think that we should talk to? Because right now I haven't been here in a while and it looks a little bit I don't know. I'm not really recognizing a lot of people here.
Well, you remember when I was talking about beehives, right? Let's go
You're
poke
gonna
a
go
beehive.
shake. You're gonna go
Oh, you
shake
want
it
to
up.
like a beehive like those 1950s dudes? No.
Precisely.
Oh,
No, absolutely
Oh.
not. Come on
okay.
now.
All right.
I think what Ali is trying to say is that he wants to go rock the boat a little bit.
Ah,
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, here's the thing. At least the thing I've learned is if you're looking for something and you bark up the wrong tree long enough, eventually someone who's from the right tree will come find you. And that could be for better or worse. But I think we're relatively safe here for now. And I mean that in the most loose terms possible. I don't think anyone will kill us. But that does not mean we're in danger. Not in danger.
Fair. So let's kick some beehives, rocks and boats.
Yeah, go find one of your royalty types. I'm sure there's venture around here.
Yeah.
Everyone has a price, Eloise.
I know. Storyteller, are there any venture here that Eloise would recognize that might, have some info?
There are several venture here that you would recognize. There is Maddie Smith.
Okay.
There is a kind of newcomer to this particular area, which is Victor Davenport.
All right. So Eloise would probably, since she recognizes Maddie, she would probably walk up to Maddie and start chatting Maddie up. What does Maddie look like?
Maddie is a woman who's kind of on the shorter side. She's about 5 feet tall. She's got kind of brown hair that's kind of slicked back tight against her skull. It doesn't seem like it's very long. It seems like it would fall down to just about her neckline when she doesn't have it up. And she's dressed in a kind of power suit. And she has a gold chain that is around her neck that has a crucifix on it.
Maddie, how are you? How is it this evening?
Eloise,
How's business?
business is business. I'm sure you know the ins and the outs. Keep an eye on the crypto whatever thing. Make sure that doesn't get out of hand.
I feel like Eloise should be rolling willpower. Well,
I mean, if you want.
no, I'm good. I'm not going to do my homework today. Well, you know how it is with all this new money. It's not secure, especially the newer stuff.
Not at all secure.
I mean, sometimes it just feels like, you know, it feels like 1929 all over again. It's like, it's so bad because these guys that they don't know what they're doing. So
Rampant inflation. It's ridiculous.
I know. It's just so bad. Has everything been okay with your side of things, though?
There's been a few cast-offs.
What do you mean?
Well, a few businesses that weren't quite performing up to snuff. They had to be jettisoned.
Oh, really? That's absolutely a shame. Well, that
Occasionally,
I'm
you can sell stuff off to the Giovanni, and they kind of dig at its corpse, as they say.
well, that is what they're good at, isn't it?
Yeah, there's the odd deal here and there we can make with them.
You know, I did hear the strangest thing, and you'll have to excuse me. I'm not sure if this is gossip or not, but there have been apparently a lot of riffraff between the factions that have been like starting fights and things. I mean, it's so unbecoming. So
I've been
unbecoming.
hearing. be a lot easier if everyone just submitted to our rule. Let's be honest.
I mean, really, it would be so much better. It really would be so much better. I mean, not to say bad things about the prince or anything like that, but we have, we know how to run things. We know how to keep things in order. Just doesn't seem like things are going very well.
I mean, there's the odd point that I think we should be in control of the city, the Ventru, but probably not the best time to discuss such things. Plus,
Absolutely not.
then we wouldn't have the ability to have such fun, like selling an NFT to a Toreador and watch them stare at it for 3 hours while it tanks.
Oh, you are so wicked.
I have
So
my
very
moments.
wicked. Oh, I do adore you, Maddie. But, I'm just concerned. Honestly, I think that it's bad for business, all of it.
If you find out anything with regards to what's going on, be sure and let me know.
Yes, it is very bad for business. Well, if you hear anything, if any of your business folk hear anything, you let me know as well, because I'm trying to run a nice establishment.
I'll keep an ear out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Maddie. I appreciate it. And Eloise is gonna walk back over to the group and be like, so yeah, people hear things, but nobody knows what's going on. I mean, she's gonna tell me if anything happens, but right now she doesn't have any more information than we do.
Do y'all really talk to each other like that all the time?
Oh, hell no. Between me and you, she started making her money in the 80s. And
New money. Got it. Understood.
So bad.
I have a question for the group. Do you think it would benefit us to touch base with Samson before the meeting, get a vibe check off of him?
I mean, I would assume he's going to be here, but sure.
I just,
to be blunt, I think Samson's a dumb flunky. He's great at what he does, but knowing things is not his strength.
I have another idea, but I mean, I had a thought. I was thinking of maybe approaching the one of the Primogen Toreador representative, maybe, and seeing if I could get information about the inner workings, see what's going on. It might benefit us for me to do a little schmoozing, see what we're walking into with the prince.
I will certainly not stop you from becoming another rose in the dozen.
I mean, I wouldn't call this my comfort zone, but if I'm going to do something that will contribute to the coterie, this is it.
I'll listen. They when Toreador get the gossiping, sometimes things slip.
It's true. Something stands out to me in my mind from last night. Conversation with Samson. So I'm gonna go see what the vibe is, maybe from the inside, feel things out.
Absolutely. I encourage it.
For your door vibe check.
So are you making your way over to where the Toreador are?
Yes.
The Toreador are not at all hard to miss. Not even
What?
remotely. It is like a gaggle of mean girls. They're all huddled around. Let's see, where did I put that name? Wesley Derrick, who you know used to be a male model back in the 80s.
Ooh.
So he has he's actually fairly well built. The dress shirt that's on him is a little bit too tight. It's open at the front. There's buttons undone. There's, the gold chain, 2 gold chains that are on there. He has kind of, one can only describe it as Fabio hair, where it's just kind of
Oh, Fabio hair, nice.
it's
Love this.
feathered, it's up. He's walking around with, he's got several rings on each hand. He's walking around. The Toreador are kind of clustered around him. You can definitely tell who the top dog in this particular group is.
Is he just a really popular Toreador, or is he like a primogen? Anyone important?
He would be the primogen.
He would be the primogen.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How am I gonna approach this? This is where I'm supposed to shine. Diana, super charming, super cool, and not so much.
Okay.
I'm gonna walk over to the group and announce myself.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say, Primogen Derek, it's been a while since I've been here. I've been meaning to come over and say hello this evening.
And he puts his finger on your mouth like, And he does like this motion. He's getting
I do a little twirl. I'm dressed up as a like a jazz lounge singer, right? So I'm probably like extremely underdressed compared to all of the really extra Toreador.
He gets you to spin around. He's like,
yeah,
I love it. You're bringing the 20s back. That is great. Great. It was
Diana.
Yes,
Diana Chambers.
Diana, it has been too long.
Well, the life of a performer. Busy schedule,
Don't I know it? And there's a bunch of benches that are in this particular part of the Elysium, and he kind of melts into one of them with his arm up on the side, and he's like, "Oh, have a seat.
I'm going to look over at the gaggle of Toreador and like do that. And it's not like a discipline flex. This is a, social flex. And I'm going to sit next to the primogen.
There is a constant stream of nattering that you can't quite make out unless you have heightened senses on, but your companion beside you is a little too loud for that.
Okay. I am not going to turn on heightened senses, but are they dispersing, or are they still
they're not dispersing.
Oh, they're
circling
everywhere.
like sharks.
Oh boy. I'm going to, so it's like they're surrounded us in like a circle of Toreador, essentially.
It's kind of, they're kind of huddled more around his side than your side, but you can tell that pretty much every eyeball from that gaggle of Toreador, and that's my official term, it's a gaggle of Toreador.
A group of Toreador, a gaggle. Gotcha.
Or mean girls of Toreador.
Oh dear. I'm going to turn to Primogen Derek, and I'm going to say, it's been a while since I've made it to Elysium.
It's been too long.
Absolutely. I wanted to get a bit of a vibe check on the
a Vibe check.
The
now
political
that is a term.
situation.
Yes, that is
Vibe check, as
definitely a
the kids
term.
say these days. I wanted to see what was going on. Had an interesting visit recently, and I wanted to see what was going on.
Oh, define interesting visit. What do you mean by that?
I'm Samson came visiting and
Oh,
had some interesting things to say, but
Samson. If only he would give us a chance to help him. Like,
Samson has some very set ideas on who he is and what he does.
combat boots, though. What is he?
I know.
Poseur?
I know, but as much as I wish I could get my hands on him and make a few changes, I have to respect a man who knows himself.
Understandable, yes. So, other than the visit from Samson, what brings you into our aura?
I wanted to know, just get a bigger sense of the political picture. Our speakeasy recently had an interesting encounter where people were throwing around big names, but as it turns out, they have nothing to do with said big names, And there's a lot of tension between factions, and I just wanted to see what it was like on this side of the fence, so to speak.
Would that have anything to do with the unpleasantness that seems to be about with regards to just the general Camarilla Anarch vibe? Anarchs,
it's
am
been
I right?
It's been spreading to neutral places, and there's a bit of concern happening here, and people invoking powerful names out of turn.
Oh,
it happened.
Dreadful business. Dreadful.
It happened with the Anarchs, and we're concerned that it's happening, to the prince, that some people are walking around invoking her name, and she has no way of knowing that these people are doing things in her name, just extending some goodwill and making sure that the prince understands what's going on in her domain.
That would be quite scandalous. I'm going to keep an eye on you.
I'm only here to make sure that I'm here to extend goodwill and to make sure that the prince knows what's up.
Always good towards a fellow rose.
Well, from one rose to another, I'm just making sure that everything continues to smell nice,
I am probably one of the only people here who knows what you mean.
Yeah.
And the nattering, just, you can definitely tell it there's a peak in the nattering, and it just kind of dies off quickly after that when he does this.
So when he waves them away, do they start to scatter, or they stop talking?
They all stay there. It's just the kind of white noise of them talking amongst each other and clutching of pearls seems to die down when he's like.
And I would like to lean over towards Wesley, and I'll say, between you and me, I heard rumors that there's some business going about with some shapeshifters. I don't know any specifics.
I have heard similar. I've heard that the prince may want to make a deal with them. I don't know why you would get down in the mud and the muck like a common Nosferatu and
Well,
deal with our lessers.
see, that's why I came to you. I was wondering if you, as the primogen representing the roses, would have any insider information about why this alliance might be forming.
It's occasionally the prince gets ideas. Occasionally they work out. In this case, I'm not holding my breath. Deals with the other supernaturals, they're fleeting at best. Everyone else is just so short-lived. We make a deal with one supernatural this decade, they die, they expire, whatever it is that they do with possibly even the fairy creatures, whatever, they disappear into a cloud of dust or whatever. And then another one comes along, we try to make a deal with them and they don't want it. So honestly, what's the point in even trying?
That's a good question. Do you and the rest of the primogens tried talking her out of it? Have you had discussions? This is the real.
Let's just say
stuff, you know?
Attempts were made. But she is the prince. We owe her our allegiance.
I'm just concerned that, I just want things to be on the up and up, Keep the garden smelling pretty,
Again, I am one of the few people here who understands exactly what you mean. Strife is bad for the arts.
It's also bad for gardens, roses, We don't want any of that.
Yes, we don't. But I do believe that I have something to do, and one of the kind of it's a thin man, one of the Toreador, leans down and puts his head right close to the Primogen and whispers something in his ear, and he's like, yes. Well, I suppose I'm going to be late for that.
Well, it was a pleasure catching up. Thank you for granting me some of your time.
Please, the pleasure was all mine.
All right. Well, I'll leave you to your business, and I'll try not to be a stranger so much.
And if you find out anything about this unpleasantness, do let me know.
We'll keep in touch.
And he kind of, it seems almost kind of unnatural, like on a balance perspective, but he seems to just kind of float into the air. Not into the air, but just onto his feet, and then he just glides off, and the gaggle of Toreador follow close behind.
And there goes our fairy godmother. Storyteller.
That's me.
I had heightened senses on to listen to, any Toreador start talking, but I also want to know if I could have heard what they whispered.
They were catty as fuck.
Oh, that last part, though. I expect the cattiness.
Yeah,
but that last part, what did he whisper to the Primogen?
The person who leaned down to whisper said, you have a meeting that is probably about 25 minutes ago. And that elicited like the kind of ultimate Toreador eye roll from him.
Late.
I suppose I'm going to be late to that.
Did we miss our meeting? Did I do the dumb thing?
No. Actually, coincidentally enough, after the Toreador gaggle leaves and kind of the air gets let out of the room a little bit, the kind of the harpy comes up to you, all of you, and he's like, "Ah, yes, the prince will see you now. If you follow me,"
Certainly.
and you all follow the harpy. And that's a good point. Take a bit of a break. So, come on back in about 7 minutes, everybody, and we'll see what happens with the meeting with the prince on the other side of this break. Welcome back, everyone. The coterie is heading in to meet Prince Olivia Morgan of Clan Nosferatu here in Toronto. So, Jean Francois, who is the Toreador French quote-unquote noble person that you met in the first half, it leads you up the stairs into the old brick facade of the ROM, which is the building inside the building. He opens the door for you, ushers you in, and on the other side of that door, there's a kind of large section where you would ordinarily have, like, fossilized dinosaur bones built up, like a T-Rex, and Stegosaurus is in there as well. But they seem to have been moved, and there's a throne there. And there are a couple people milling about on either side of the person that's on the throne. But if you can picture the Queen in Bridgerton, but she's dressing dressed all in black and dark greens, and there is a large frilled kind of see-through mesh dark green kind of collar that she has on, and her face is something that would not at all fit into what you would expect if you see that particular image. It is a kind of gnarled mess. Like, one eye is down, there's another eye that's kind of up from where it should be, and they blink at random intervals, and she has a bald head, and she's got the long pointy Nosferatu ears, and it looks like she has 4 fangs on her upper jaw, and then kind of 2 kind of tusk-like fangs on her lower jaw. This is Prince Olivia Morgan.
Hello, Prince.
Hello, Prince.
Are you supposed to bow or something? I always forget.
I am gonna do what etiquette
Okay.
dictates in this situation, because I, as a player, do not know that, but
Give me
I'm
a
sure Diana does.
Give me a charisma and etiquette roll.
Okay, does my stunning work with this?
This would not, actually, at this particular moment.
Cool.
Ordinarily, I would say yes, but this is a Nosferatu prince
Oh,
who is higher standing.
that doesn't work with an important Nosferatu. Can I
Blow that willpower.
No, I was gonna say, can I increase my pool? How does that work?
It would be a rouse check. That would add 2 to the blood pool. Or 2 to the dice pool.
Okay, cool. That's a fail. Feels bad.
You hear, why are you trying to impress a Nosferatu?
Don't worry about it, darling. This is important business.
Really?
Oh, I'll get back to you.
Go back and hang with the Toreador. You don't need to talk to her, really.
I would love to, but the Toreador knows nothing. So let me finish my business, and maybe I'll get you a little treat when we get home.
Maybe the Toreador are just being coy. Maybe they want to reveal information to you at a different place.
Okay, I will look into that. But for right now, I have business to attend to for the coterie.
And this would add another hunger die to your pool. But it would add 2 extra dice, so...
Okay, cool. Let's go. Whoa. 1, 2, 3 successes.
3 successes. You would know definitely in this particular instance that it'd probably be good to bow and, make it known that you're dealing with someone of higher status than you currently have.
And I will do it as the coterie does it, like we all just go. And I'll say, Prince Morgan, thank you for granting us this audience.
And she does kind of a... And Jean-Francois is still there, and he's like, what information do you feel the need to bring to our illustrious prince?
We recently had representatives that claim to be working on your behalf. And
there's a clack as a old style fan opens up, and she starts kind of fanning herself with it.
And I'll turn to Ali and I'll say, you have the information? You know, the people last night who claimed they were working for the prince?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Prince. It goes like this. There are people in our club, some claiming to be anarchs, some claiming to be Cam. Both of them said they were coming there on behalf of their leadership, you on one side, Drake on the other, to fight each other in our club, which I believe that you're as knowledgeable as you can be and know our club is a neutral ground. This is a problem for us and a problem for you if you don't know who these people were. And Ali takes out his notebook, rips out a sketch, hands it over to, whoever will take it, and you can take that over to the prince. These are the people that were there.
It's Jean-Francois that kind of grabs the picture from you, takes it over to the prince, presents it to her.
I definitely haven't washed my hands, Jean-Francois.
She is still fanning herself. She looks down at it, and then she kind of uses the fan to obscure her face, and Jean-Francois leans in behind the fan, and you hear like a little bit of murmuring. And
Heightened senses.
You hear, "We did not send these people." And Jean-Francois straightens up, and he goes, the prince has no knowledge of the people that you are describing. She did, however, send Samson, as there was some report of potential violence at several areas around the city.
My
Do you
prince.
happen to have know who they are? Have they presented themselves to you?
And he disappears behind the fan again. The heightened senses pick up. No. The prince has no knowledge of the individuals in question.
We suspected it would be the case, which is why we felt the need to report this and make sure that it is brought to your attention. Not only as a sign of goodwill, but perhaps you may offer some assistance as far as how to deal with them.
Once again, Jean-Francois behind the fan, and you can hear with heightened senses, ask them. The prince would be interested in knowing if you would be interested in pursuing this particular line of questioning, if you would be willing to track down the individuals in question and, how can I put this? How do you say it in English? Present them to the prince, in a manner of speaking.
If I'm not mistaken, I thought you had another job for us, my prince.
She does indeed have a job for you as well, but this would seem to take precedence.
Well, a lot of risk for us. What's the reward?
Jean Francois ducks again behind the thing, and you hear what they requested. I do believe there was a conversation with Mr. Sampson with regards to compensation for the other job that you had in mind.
So you agree with those terms?
We would be agreeable with those terms. Yes.
I think Ali turns to the rest of the group and is like, this sounds like a trap to any of you. This sounds like an even bigger trap than the previous one was.
Yeah, this sounds pretty bad for business. Prince, if I may, what exactly? You have to understand, this is bad for business. And not only is it bad for business, but in terms of the misinformation that's flying around, people using other people's names, barons, princes, and things like that to promote violence, that's definitely your clan would have an issue with misinformation. You want to know all the juicy bits. So what I'm trying to say is this sort of weirdness is probably not good for your clan. I don't know. Barker might be able to help me out here, but this is, yeah, this kind of like not having exact information, bad for business. So you've got to tell us why it is that you would have us deal with this and not have it nipped in the bud yourself.
The Jean Francois ducks again behind the fan, and those with heightened senses can't hear anything. And he pops back out and he goes, resources are spread a bit thin at the moment, protecting the Masquerade. And there are representatives who are talking to various supernaturals, as you understand. They are off doing other things, so it would please the prince if you were to take care of it.
Eloise, I think, is at this point going to defer to Barker, and I apologize if that's potential. Like as a Ventru, she's really kind of at a loss of how to deal with a Nosferatu prince at this point.
And when this kind of started a couple of minutes back, the minute his clan was brought up, Barker took like a half step back and a half step to the right, and has been looking at them with this. Really? Honestly, we're going to make it clan bullshit? Like, oh yeah, the Nosferatu. We're the ones that have that need the information. Like the rest of you don't operate on information as well. Christ on a pogo stick. Really, up and down, repeatedly. Okay. And he'll turn to the prince and go, so yeah, pardon my compatriots. They're used to dealing with the flowery stuff and things, and I can understand in your current position, sitting on that wonderful seat, you would think that you're doing the same. But I mean, hi, Barker, downtown Lawrence. So yeah, give us 5 minutes to have a chat, and we'll let you know whether we'll take the job or not. I mean, you're kind of offering the same pay for twice the work, but yeah, that's what the back and forth is for.
She doesn't actually say anything. She just is like a
Yeah, and then look at Jean. What was his name? Jean Francois.
Jean Francois.
Yeah, and just go. So, Monsieur Lefleur, we got the little side room that we can use.
But of course, it's an Elysium. There's always rooms for dealings, and he takes you just off to essentially stage right, and he opens a door for you, and there's a kind of a smaller room in there, kind of like a conference, like not a conference table, but just kind of like a small round table with about 6 chairs around it that you could comfortably sit a bunch of people at.
I just walk past and go, "Merci beaucoup," and then into the room.
Okay.
Wait for everyone to get in close to the door and go, "Okay, so how would you deal with a prince who was Venture Prince?" Torter Prince, I can see a little more flowery. Venture Prince, a little more business, but
This is
what?
Parker, I totally get that you're thinking that I'm making this into a clan thing. I'm totally making it into an information thing.
We all
There's
work on
something
information.
wrong here. There's something smelly here.
Oh yeah. There definitely is. All over the place. I mean, shit, if I was getting paid for it, I'd still want to stick my nose into this because I want to find out what the hell's going on and make sure it doesn't bother the cloak again.
No, I mean, and that's the thing. It's not just bothering the cloak, it's bothering everybody. And this is something weird. Like the Baron is saying that the people that got sent to our bar weren't his.
Yeah.
The prince is saying that this is not their people. So
and I
there's
did,
some
and while you were
shit
all
going
busy
on.
downstairs, I did a little stroll through the Elysium, and guess how many faces I saw that I recognized from last night? Zero.
Mhm.
So yeah, someone's playing games. So we just got to find out who the hell's playing games. Could be a couple of the other, could be a couple of the other barons. I mean, there's that idiot in Etobicoke, and there's another one up in North York. I mean, they play the games too. Could be Sabat crap for all we know. They're usually not this subtle, but sometimes they try the little games.
A little subtle for Sabat, in my opinion, but not
Yeah,
impossible.
but,
You get a few La Sombra
takes
conspiring
all
together.
kinds. Yeah. It could be someone here who wants to knock over the prince and the baron and decide they want to install themselves. I mean, how much do we know about the Tories and the Venture in this city? Next to nothing, except they come to our bar, they have a few drinks. As long as they don't get rowdy, we don't have to push them around. We've had a good thing to this point. Things, I'm guessing the world is changing a little bit. And, I've been doing the bar scene since a long time now, close to two centuries. So I mean, things are good till they're not. We're hitting the knot.
You look great for your age, my friend.
Thank you.
Stunning.
It's this new toner and moisturizer that I use is great. I'll tell you, SPF 7000, which is fantastic. It's just amazing, especially under the moonlight. But yeah, so I'm thinking, we came here, we poked around, we didn't find anything. I mean, but I wasn't expecting much of anything. And then we can start doing some digging ourselves and see if we can. The whole trick will be finding one of these little bastards again and putting them to the question. And that Miss Trent's where you come in, getting into the brain there and working your worms and making sure that they're, they become little pigeons for us, little canaries singing a song.
I mean, that's
But
understandable.
We're taking the deal, right?
Well, I mean, we all think it's a trap.
That's
right?
absolutely.
I don't think it's a trap.
Okay, so Ali, explain to us then because we don't know how the prince is trapping us in this if the prince is genuinely does not think that they know who's doing this.
I think the prince knows more about what's behind this or who might be coming into the city than we're getting right now. And I think it's such a big problem that they'd rather throw some unknowns at it. Expendables, if you will.
I wouldn't call that a trap. I'd call that smart business, to be honest.
I mean, yes,
hell,
I
if
agree with
if
that.
we had junior people we could throw at them, I'd pass the buck down, take 90%.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. However, I am friggin' curious. I need to know what's going on. And so even if we weren't getting paid, I'd probably do it.
I have a question. Just because I'm not entirely clear about this, are they essentially just adding on to the workload or changing the workload?
Well,
Like,
we were coming
are
here
we-
to, we were in a negotiation anyways where we said we want some domain and some meetings and stuff in exchange for doing the talking with the shape changers. And she's pretty much said, if you'll talk with the shape changers and do a little research into this, then I'll pay you what you're asking. So we're in a negotiation phase right now.
Okay.
We could
But-
go back and say, you know what, that sounds fair to us. We are asking a lot. You're asking a lot now. Okay, cool. Or we could go back and say, listen, so the original offering stands. What are you going to give us extra? But then, of course, she's going to say, what do you want? We better be ready to trot something out. I can always just say, I want a few more meetings with a couple of more immortals. I want to meet some people that have got a little pull and sway in a few places so that I've got people to call up when I need a hand.
I
Sometimes
have
this
one
one falls
question.
off.
I have one question. She did say that she's sending other, I guess, coteries or individuals out to speak with the various other
Supernaturals. Yeah.
supernaturals. So that's my issue is, aren't we possibly doubling up on the work?
Do you know how many types of supernaturals are in this city? It's not just
Well,
us and the shape changers.
But yeah, no, that's fair. But
And we haven't been hired to go talk to the fairy folk, as an example.
we haven't. And I mean, the problem that I have here is that she's already sending a whole bunch of people to do that. Why did she want us to do it? And
'Cause
why was
we're-
she but why was she willing to give us so much to do it if there's already a whole bunch of other people doing it?
Who knows what the other people are getting paid?
You got it.
And again, I mean, we're part of it. Bunch of people. She's sending a bunch of people out. I
Yeah,
mean,
imagine there's a bunch of
yeah,
neonates who don't have much of anything. They're
I
probably gonna do
know,
whatever.
I know. We're not going to go talk to the fairies, so there's got to be a group going to talk to them. Which, good luck. I mean, yeah, I talk to one now and again, and we get along kinda carefully. They're a little wacko. But there's got to be other things besides fairies and shape changers. I mean, there's all sorts of weirdness in this world.
Yeah, I
All
probably
right.
wouldn't be the best to handle ghosts, for example, or wraiths or what have you.
Yeah, can you talk to ghosts? Do they have a society and a culture too? I mean, you hear about crap that the Hekata get up to.
No,
So
but I have a
maybe
pissed off
they
one in my office that won't leave.
well, you got to hang with a Hekata, dude. So yeah, maybe they're sending another coterie to talk that's got Hekata in it because those people are the creepy ghost talkers and stuff. And I've heard they can even eat them and stuff, which is kind of weird.
Ew.
But yeah, so there's
Ew.
at least a couple of different groups of people. So we're just one of those groups. So yeah, and who knows
Alright.
what they're getting paid? I don't want to hunt them up and find out what they're getting paid. Who knows? They might be, $500,000 each, in which case, really, domain, $500,000? I'm taking domain, thank you. Or in my case, some meetings with some influential gentlemen and ladies of the business worlds.
All right, so
So
everyone
is
wants
there
to take this
anything
deal?
else we want to ask for?
Right now, I can't think of anything. I've already given all what I want, and
I mean, I could always just ask for the art gallery, just specifically the art gallery, because that's like a favorite place of mine. But hey, I've already got theaters and things on the wish list, so to
Yeah,
speak.
you don't want to try to hold
No,
on to too much.
I don't. I am personally of the mind that I don't feel like I need to ask for more. I feel like what we're getting into is
I assume they're
from my
listening right now.
perspective.
So
Oh yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was like a big shot here, I would be. I mean,
I'm just gonna roll with first dip on interesting jobs.
oh, that's the other thing. We got a rep for like doing this really well. We could get some other really interesting jobs in
Exactly.
here.
I
too.
just
Camarilla
wanna
and-
know about the first interesting jobs
What
the prince might come by.
I like to think. I like to think that our efficiency is one of the things that stands out.
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure that we proved that up in that, that whole thing that we did up in Rexdale like a few years ago. I think we pretty much proved that. And,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah, if everybody's in for it, I'm in for it too. Just I don't know if there's just something I can't shake about this. The money's not adding up. It's kind of where I'm going with this. But
Yeah, there's something that smells, but you know what? I'm
If
still willing to go for it.
Same.
if the money doesn't add up, we're not asking for money. We're
Besides,
asking for
besides,
domain.
if it turns out that someone's playing us too, then maybe we get our hands on them, and then there won't be someone playing us because
Bingo.
question is, where do we start though?
couple of places, but I'd rather discuss that once we're like back hanging
Yep.
someplace that doesn't have foreign ears in it.
So
Yep, fair.
So we do the jobs. We do the
Yeah,
things.
I see. I see. We take the jobs and we ask for any information they got on what's going around, and we ask them to set up a meet with the shape changers. I mean, if they're sending us shape changers, they should know where we're supposed to find them or who we're supposed to ask for. So first meet kind of thing, and any information they might have on the whole political situation going on in the city right now with anarchs and Kirilla wanting to beat each other up.
Yeah. All right. I mean, that sounds like a plan. Shall we let you do the?
We're ready.
Yeah.
I know
Okay.
you're listening.
And then we'll just stroll out of the room back into the throne chambers.
John Francois is waiting there for you
I know.
Yeah, thought he'd be.
and leads you out to where the prince is. The sorry, what was the name of your coterie again?
Really have a coterie name. We all work from the cloak, so I don't know. Call us the cloak coterie.
The cloak coterie. And there's a very
Tortor. Always need names.
extremely subtle
I'm gonna go with Eye of the Tiger.
nod from the prince.
Your Highness, person. Okay, we're good with doing the deal. What was offered through, or what was requested through Samson, and we'll go and have a chat with the shape changers for you and see what we can arrange there, and we'll also do what we can to find out what's going on with the whole stuff going on downtown and the little bursts of violence and things. We are going to need a little help from your end. Whatever shape changer you want us to talk with, or if you can point us at where to find them. I mean, we mostly hang downtown. We don't know from shape changers. We don't have any specific connections in that sphere. And if you guys got anything, names or descriptions or anything at all on, the little shenanigans that have been happening at a couple other bars and stuff, would gladly take them. Other than that, we're good to go, and we'll let you know how things are off.
The fan is back. You're not quite sure where it disappeared to, but it is returned. Jean Francois ducks his head behind it again. And if you're using heightened senses, you don't hear anything. He ducks back out. This would be agreeable. I do believe there is a believe. Let's see. It is, and he checks an actual like flip calendar that is in his hand. So it is Sunday. I believe there would be a gathering at this particular club. It is the Savage Garden. It's located on Queen West. And yes, in my world, Savage Garden's still open, so suck it. There's
Damn it.
a bartender there by the name of Maxine. That is who we would like you to talk with. She seems to know many of the shape changers, but I'm not sure if she is a shape changer herself. That'd be your best bet.
Okay, Maxine at the garden.
Yes.
Okay,
All
good,
right.
good.
If that would be all, my prince. And the prince closes the fan with one hand and kind of allows you to leave with the other. Everybody's sleeping.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will bow, do the proper etiquette stuff, and then as we're leaving, if I see what's his name? Wesley Derrick, I'll just like as we're walking by wave if he's around or something like that, just to kind of
There,
rile up the mean girls.
just as you're about to leave, like out of the corner of your eye, you notice that there's the gaggle that is kind of close to the, let's call it a corporate meeting of Ventru. They're kind of, it seems like the two are kind of interacting, and you toss a wave towards Wesley, and he reaches out his hand and he drops a handkerchief close to where you are, but he continues speaking with the Ventru.
I pick up the handkerchief. Do I know what this signifies? I just pick it
This
up.
would signify a favor, not
Ooh.
a boon in the traditional vampire sense, but more of a kind of a favor of a knight, of a lady who would be
Oh.
that you would be kind of like the preferred person.
I will kind of like look like I will pick it up and like I won't be discreet about it in case the gaggle of mean girls are looking, and I just pick it up. Like I take a moment to pick it up and then I walk off. Can I tell if the mean girls have noticed?
There's a lot of nattering between
Oh, yeah.
them. Yeah, you may have started.
Is it levels of
tornado.
nattering that would hurt my heightened senses?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I'm just gonna walk, and then I'm going to take the handkerchief and put it in my purse.
Okay. So
And
where-
when we get to the car,
And as we go to the car, I'm going to mask up again, and I rolled to rouse to do so and failed.
Oh man, come on! You got it.
So as I'm walking through the Elysium, yeah. Yeah. I know.
Are you
Yeah,
doing
we're
this out
going-
loud?
No,
Okay.
quietly in my head. Yeah. Why we're going back to the club. I'll get a drink
Fuck.
there.
Grab one of the Toreador, like right
Oh,
over there.
hell no.
They probably
I don't know where
taste-
they've been.
They probably taste like patchouli or some shit.
I
Just go
do
eat one of
not-
them.
I do not need one of those repeating on me for the next 6 nights. Are you
Ah,
kidding
come
me?
on. It'll be fun.
No.
They're right
Yeah,
there, man.
you got a weird definition of the word fun.
Fuck.
I don't like having fun in my stomach. That's the kind of party I can go without. Thank you very much.
I don't
We'll
like
get back to the club. I'll have a cold one.
I don't like having fun of my stomach as he has like a juice box basically almost at the ready. So you're making your way back to the car.
Eloise, before we leave, does she spot Victor Davenport?
Yes.
Okay. And does she know who Victor Davenport is at this point? He's been in town long enough that she might know, or is it still like an unknown to her?
He's a Ventru that may be on his way through from Vancouver.
Okay. So she's heard of him. Okay. So
She's heard of him.
Eloise pulls out a business card, and as she's walking by, she just kind of hands the business card to Victor, says, "I'm out for the night, but give me a call."
There is somebody who just comes, like, it's not obfuscate, but they just come out of nowhere. They have like really, really short blonde hair, and they've got glasses on, and they come out of nowhere and they snag it. And they're like, he doesn't like being handed things. We will set up a meeting.
Rude. Fine. Have a good night.
There's no response.
And Eloise is going to join the rest and go out to the car.
Going out to the car. All right.
Do we have time to hit the Savage Garden tonight? Get
There's
this
plenty of
novel.
time. This is approximately, give or take, the meeting with the prince took about half an hour or so. And it was, I believe, at 8:30. So it's about 9, quarter after 9 right about now.
Yeah, which means Savage won't even be going yet.
Not at all.
So it'll
But
be
Maxine
mostly
will be there.
empty. Maxine will be there. And it's about from the ROM down, 15-minute drive plus 10 for finding parking. Actually, no.
Should we?
No, I know where there's parking. Can park in the back.
If we have time, I was going to suggest maybe, dressing the part, matching the vibes. I mean, I don't know if we have time to do that, but maybe we don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. And she looks down at her like 20s inspired look, and she's like,
What color is Diana's dress?
red.
It is just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's just an idea, I always want to look my best, but I also know that, sticking out like a sore thumb is not good.
You're a Toreador. You always stick out like a sore thumb.
Look,
at
we don't
you.
talk about that. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying.
Look, Diana, don't worry about it. If they don't like how you look, you'll make them like how you look, and it'll all be good.
It's true, but I want to play by the rules,
There's no rules there.
I don't go into someone's house and demand that things run my way. I mean, I could, but I try not to open with that.
Fair.
It's a personal me thing, but yeah, let's go. You know what? Let's go.
That's fair. Let's let our hair down and get going.
She actually lets her hair down. Okay.
That was okay.
Just like
Right. Let's just go. Okay. Go. And Eloise is Eloise is basically just like, you know what, whatever, it's good, I'm good. She sends a text message to the bar, the cloak, just to make sure everything's going okay and nothing's blowing up or anything.
There's a big thumbs up emoji from the manager.
Perfect.
So you're making your way down to the Savage Garden. The ROM, if I remember correctly, is up on Bloor Street. So it's a quick down University.
Yep, Bloor University. So straight down University to Queen, take a right,
and then
a couple of blocks along.
Yeah.
Like I said, about 15 minutes.
Yeah, get stuck behind a streetcar. We're good.
Yeah. yeah, it's more on the 15-minute side than anything. And then the driver kind of knows this area a little bit, so they pull in behind the KFC slash Taco Bell into the parking lot that's behind there, and it's a quick walk to the Savage Garden. The Savage Garden is an interesting locale in the world of darkness. It's a club that's up a set of stairs. You look on the outside of it, and you can kind of see like there's black on the second floor, painted over. The first floor is a military surplus store, but there's a grated kind of bar that's, you would see the open black door kind of swung open wide, and you can hear kind of the reverberating bass even on the first floor when the bar itself is on the second. There's a, bouncer there that's kind of surprised that people are showing up this early. They're like, all right, the $5 for the cover.
Yeah.
No,
Eloise.
we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Oh,
It's all good. No,
Diana,
no, 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 no. You know
do
what?
they not know who you are?
Oh, you know what? We wouldn't want them coming into our bar and not paying cover. Good goths pay cover. And Eloise pulls out 100 and hands it to the doorman and says, take care of the stuff. It's for all of us.
All right. And he ushers you in.
I mean, that's one way to do it. I feel like we're going to bring them more business, but, do what you do.
We want to keep them in business. Us floating our name around isn't going to pay their bills. We want to keep them in business, right?
You see those people in line and how they were looking at y'all?
Yeah, but we don't know how much they're going to be drinking. We don't know how much they're going to, we want to keep these guys in business. We don't want to take any cover from them.
Whatever you say, you're the money person.
If anyone knows anything about business, it's Eloise. I trust her judgment.
I mean, Ellie, if we don't like them, then yeah, we'll push our way in. But these guys haven't done anything bad to us so far.
So you make your way up the stairs. It's about 30 stairs up into the top, and there's another kind of cage that is opened up. It looks like the entire thing is kind of caged off from the rest of the world. There's black walls, and there's kind of like there's certain things hanging off of it that can only be described as kind of cyberpunkish. There's like a large kind of angel structure that is hanging off the one particular wall that is, it looks like it's made up of like mechanical gears and wiring. There's a long kind of bar along the right hand side as soon as you kind of make your way into the club itself after a quick turning left and turning right. The right behind you, it seems like there's a partitioned off segment of the bar that may have something else going on. Along the left-hand side, there's a row of seats that are there, and at the end of the row of seats, which is right across from the bar itself, there's a kind of a square cage that's set up. One would only assume that there would be dancers in it. The bar itself is kind of sparse of people right now. Like it just opened up. The bouncer was kind of surprised that people would be showing up that early. And there's kind of loudish music that's going on. What do you all do?
Is there someone behind the bar?
There's several people behind the bar. They seem to be kind of looking like what the Cloak was doing with their bartenders. They're, making sure that things are in certain spots. There's one person that is like lifting a crate, or not a crate, like a box of beer, and kind of setting down and making sure that the fridge is stocked.
I'm going to sense the beast.
Alrighty. You see
I
how
love how
that
we're on the
works.
same page as on this.
Let me see how that exactly works.
It would be my resolve in animalism versus composure and subterfuge.
All right. I just want to see, like, see if they harbor a supernatural beast, making them a vampire or a werewolf. All right. So it's their composure and subterfuge. Well, you won.
Criticals all over the damn place.
In that case, you really won.
Yep. Yeah, that's 5 successes with a pair of crits.
So you wait. Oh, pair of crits. All right. I was like,
Yep.
2 crits. That's like 9 successes. So with your 5 successes, you blink a few times when you get up to the top of the stairs. It's a little tricky to get kind of a reading from these particular people, as there's like kind of a laser light show that they're testing out. The fog machine is going off. It's kind of giving you kind of that prickly sensation over your skin. But you blink a few times, you open your senses to the supernatural, and you can tell that one of the particular people behind the bar, there's nothing there. That is not at all a supernatural being. Not even a ghoul. They're just human. For the other person behind the bar, it is a very lean woman. She's wearing a black tank top. She has like black combat pants on, black combat boots, short, kind of almost feathery like hair. And she's got like, black wristbands with like spikes and stuff on them. She's got like a black collar with not like super huge spikes, but kind of like the little studs on them. And she's kind of not scrubbing down, but just kind of wiping down the bar, making sure that everything looks fine. She
But pick up anything from her?
From the supernatural sense that you get, she has, it's something you've never actually seen before. Like, you've seen vampires. Vampires, you get that every night. You can pick a vampire out of like a lineup, no problem. You've seen the odd were creature here and there. Like, a Nosferatu buddy of yours once pointed out somebody on the street, and you saw like the vibrant flashes of what it is to be like have the beast of a were creature. You know definitely to avoid those. But this is something different. This is something you've never actually seen before. This is kind of like I don't know, it's kind of wispy, it's kind of greenish. You're not quite sure exactly what type of creature this is, but you know it's kind of aware-ish, but not at all vampire related.
I'm gonna stop and say, Ms. Trent, could I have one of those 100s, please?
Absolutely. And Heloise just pulls it out of her suit jacket pocket and hands it over to him.
Thank you. I don't carry this much, and we've got to make a flash.
Oh,
And
yes.
Barker's going to go up to the bar right where she is cleaning this slender woman in the black, and kind of fold the 100 in half and tap it and say, "Excuse me," and then lean in so that he can be heard under the music and stuff, and say, "So surprise me with a drink, and the rest of it's yours if you come outside for a cigarette in about 5 minutes. I want to talk about getting in touch with your pack of buddies.
She gives you a very quizzical look, and then it almost looks like she's about to say, "Yeah, sorry, buddy, I don't do that." But then she's like, "Oh, pack of buddies,
Yeah.
right?" And then she looks you up and down, and she's gonna make a roll. Yeah, that one actually was fairly good. So she looks you up and down. She's like, "Now what?" And she sounds like she's had about 1 billion cigarettes. She's like, "Oh, well, what would your kind want with, them types?"
Like downstairs having a cigarette where we don't have like, and just kind of look out the bar and lean on the side, those sorts that could maybe listen in and hear. And I'm sure you got something like we got.
I got a smoke break coming anyway. And she
Good.
kind of nods. You can't really quite make it out, but you kind of get the vibe that she's telling the other person who's behind the bar that she's going to be right back. And she,
And,
slips the
and I'm gonna
100 into the cash register.
stroll towards the rest of the coterie and go, so outside, we're taking a smoke break already.
Oh, it's going to be one of those nights. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
She comes walking up to you before you're able to leave, though, and she's like, "Meet me around back. There's less people." And she goes back into the back part of the club.
Okay. We'll go down the front, around the block.
You swing back around the back end of the Savage Garden. It's an alleyway in Toronto, and it's not that the front part of Queen West is necessarily the cleanest place in the world, but this is kind of par for the course. You've seen a lot of back alleys in your day. This is pretty standard for Toronto. And she's basically out there. She's already taken a couple of drags off of smoke. So, what do you all want?
So you'd be Maxine, I bet.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah. We need to get in touch with. We were told you're kind of a go-between with the shape-changing sorts. Our big boss wants us to have a chat with some of your people about your big boss to kind of come to an agreement with the city so that we're not constantly ripping up the turf, and there's been enough blood.
Yeah, I suppose there has.
Yeah. So our prince, our big shot, is extending an olive branch, and we're it. So kind of looking for a chat, a sit down, a powwow.
And you're all in on this chat?
Yeah. This is our little group. So we were told that you could arrange a little group among the shape changers, because I'm sure, much like us, you've got different kind of flavors. And I'm going to drop the mask at that point. We got us cute ones, and then the really beautiful one over there, and point over her shoulder at Diana, the songbird, and then we've got, the 100% business person, and point at Eloise, who knows the ebb and flow of the electronic funds, and then we've got our I'd like to call him the eye in the sky, but really he can be anywhere. He's the guy who always knows what's going on, and point at Allie over the shoulder.
Does
He just
Allie show
opens this up a little bit
Yeah.
and blinks.
So yeah, we got different flavors. Figure you guys probably got different flavors too. You got your singers and your dancers and your choreographers and your stage directors and whatever. I mean, I don't know, but we figure we won't be talking to one. We'll be talking to some.
Yeah, I ain't one of them.
Yeah, but you got an inn, right?
Yeah,
A phone number?
I know where to send you.
Okay.
So, all right. Let's discuss kind of a finder's fee, shall we?
Yeah, we can do that.
What do you need?
Well, money. Just moved here from Vancouver not too long ago.
I mean, yeah, that's understandable. This is probably just as expensive of a city as Vancouver. So, yeah.
A little
What are
less.
you needing?
Little less than. I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, maybe.
Couple thou.
Consider it done.
I figure, it's probably not too expensive to practically
No.
sending you off to your graves anyway, so fuck it, why not, right?
I mean,
Now, you'll be
honestly,
making sure you're getting the money after, so it would not
yeah.
behoove you to
Uh.
send us someplace that would be ill for our health.
All right, you guys
And
drive a hard bargain.
And consider this: if you can give us or if we can pay you a finder's fee for doing this, and you do this, and put us in touch with the right people, we might consider keeping you on as a retainer. At least I might. And if that's the case, then you might be set in Toronto.
If you have your hands on a lot of information,
Yep.
part of my job is to find things, and I'm always looking for information brokers.
Yeah, and
I pay
I'll make
well.
sure I'll make sure you're well compensated for anything you bring to us. And yeah, you'll get to know Allie probably pretty well.
Yeah, all right. So, what you need to do is, and I don't know if she points over at Diana. I don't know if her type is gonna appreciate this too much. What I can tell, you're a Tory bet.
So Diana just looks at her like with this defiant expression and she says, "Try me."
Well, what you need to do, you need to go to St. Pat's Station. Then you need to go under St. Pat's Station.
Okay.
It's one of those areas that, I don't know if your type, she points to Barker, I don't know if they're wanting to go around that particular area. I think they were told to get the fuck out at some point. There's going to be somebody you'll come across, probably more they'll come across you, called Rings the Bell.
Is that a name or a title?
Yes.
Got it.
They'll probably get you in the right direction.
Rings the bell.
The
Okay.
werewolf types have they kind of come up with these like titles for themselves, like rings the bell, smashes the mountain, crushes the cantaloupe, whatever, like it's,
They think very highly of themselves, it sounds like, and that's okay.
yeah, they are kind of egomaniac jackasses at times.
You're not one of them.
Not at all.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be back for
I
your
mean,
compensation.
you better.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't dream of not keeping my word. My word is gold.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll find out.
Absolutely. shall we, friends?
You should probably get contact information,
Oh,
so you can get back to them with.
Yeah, without having to come back here
Yeah,
necessarily.
yeah. Maybe you don't want us hanging around here so much, Maxine.
It's there's times you can come here, times you can't.
Understood.
I mean, it's not like Dance Cave where there's like specific nights you show up and specific nights you can't.
I really don't miss the club scene.
Yeah, there's that. All right.
I
Well,
suppose
Maxine,
that's fair.
Maxine, how do we get in touch with you?
I'm here most nights.
Fair.
Reasonable.
Is that good enough for everyone?
Yeah.
Oh, I mostly suggested it for
Oh,
ease of
no, absolutely.
transactions, but
Absolutely, Diana, you're 100% right. But if Maxine wants to keep that on the, doesn't want to necessarily disclose where she's about, then we probably want to.
No, I respect that. It was just a suggestion.
Oh, absolutely. Good one at that.
I mean, no offense to any of you, but I'd rather keep these types of things in public areas.
Fair enough.
Yep.
All right.
And as we walk back down the alley, I'm not
Maxine.
using mask.
I turn to Maxine and I say, I merely suggested it as a sign of good faith, to show that we would be good for it and we could be contacted at any time.
I mean,
That's all.
if you want to be good for it, you can pay me half up front.
We had an agreement.
We did.
Pay after. And we'll stick to that agreement. You can hold us to that. If you feel like we haven't held up our part of the agreement, then you can find us, and I let her know. Out of character suggestions, do we let her know of the bar? I mean, it is a public place.
Well, I mean, the upstairs?
Yeah, the upstairs is we wouldn't want her downstairs.
Like,
oh my god, that would be horrible.
No. Like, yeah, I mean, I work there. She would see me on the stage if, she would at least recognize me on the stage. So I don't see that as too problematic if she needed to find us.
All right. So Eloise is gonna just write down the address of the bar for Maxine. If we don't hold up our end of the bargain, you find us here.
All right. I heard of this place. It's kind of nice from what I hear.
We try.
And
Yeah,
you're
we do.
leaving at that point?
Yep.
All right. Headed towards, I'm guessing, St. Patrick's Station?
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
All right. Go ahead.
I think all things considered and what the shenanigans are that have this coterie got into the previous night, when Eloise called the car, she probably also would have thrown in a pair of sneakers in there.
That's understandable.
Ballet flats. Like,
Something
can you grab my shoes? They're
something that are not heels. Yes.
They're in the dressing room area of the main floor. Someone just grab my ballet flats.
Can we retroactively have put at least comfortable shoes in there?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
God.
Cool.
And Diana mumbles to herself, next time I'll pack a pair of jeans too. I'm so overdressed for this.
You're gonna have such a good time down here, I'm sure.
You know what? sometimes things are necessary that aren't always fun. And, you know,
It's like
I
my
am
whole
going to
job.
suffer through it because I'm a good team player.
All right, so you're making your way towards St. Patrick's Station. St. Patrick's Station is along the University Spadina line of the TTC, the Toronto Transit Commission subway. When you go down into St. Patrick's Station, everything basically is painted green. It's bright green. There's definite dirt in the grout, though, and it's kind of a long stretch. You can see where the subway would go one way or the other way, but there's kind of large pillars in the way that have places where you can see doors, one of which says employees only, and that probably would have been where Maxine had told you to go.
That's where we're going.
All right, so you go up to the door. Who would be opening the door?
I'm going to check it to see if it's locked.
Yeah,
Probably a good idea.
that's first things first.
It is
And
not.
if it is,
It is not locked.
beautiful.
Proceeding.
Yep.
What was the person's name again? Hold on, let me look it up.
Rings the bell.
Rings the bell.
I'm gonna knock and go. I'm gonna knock.
I've
knock,
opened
knock.
it.
Oh, you've opened it?
Yeah.
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 Well,
If
I'm
it's
gonna.
locked.
If it's not locked, then it's being opened.
Okay, I'm gonna. Well, is anyone actually locking in? I was just gonna like knock on the door, like not just barge in with like hello. I don't know.
Yeah. Once I figured out I was open, there's no knocking. It's
Yeah.
just walking in.
No, go. I'm.
So what past the
Diana
door,
just goes-
Star Killer?
Diana just goes, and she has that resigned look, and she just follows. I'm just like,
So beyond the door, there's kind of a smallish area. There's a little table off to the side. There's a couple chairs around it. You can tell that there's been kind of somebody sitting there on break. There's like half dealt cards. Looks like a cribbage board as well. There's kind of like a board where they put tax into things and kind of make sure that people, have messages like notifications and stuff like that. But there's kind of a long hallway beyond that. And if you proceed down the hallway, the light kind of goes dimmer and dimmer till eventually you hit kind of a door that is part of a cage.
Okay.
Is the door locked?
There is a large lock on the door.
Perfect.
Anyone have larceny?
Yep.
I do.
With a specialty in lockpicking.
I saw you, baby.
So yeah, I'll pull out some bits of wire and
Dex and larceny.
this is perfect.
With the
a
special-
Nosferatu. We take offense to things that are locked, especially underground.
I'm offended by this locked door in the underground. I love it.
Okay, I'm gonna blow willpower.
Fair enough.
Here we go. And that's what I needed to do. So that is 3 successes. I'll take it.
You kind of get down. You're messing with the wires a little bit in there. The paper clip that you've got. You think you're almost getting it, but then you're like, oh crap, this is one of those locks, and then you kind of reverse and flip it around the other way, and it pops open.
Here we are. And I will open the gated door.
As soon as you open the gated door, you hear, man, that was pretty good. And on the other side, coming almost obfuscate like out of nowhere, is someone who's wearing a large, they're wearing a large duster, like a black jacket. It smells of old leather and beaten up things. He's got kind of a toque on that's off to the one side. He's like, huh, never thought I'd actually see your kind down here. I thought we told you all to take a hike.
We come with business.
Really?
Maxine sent us.
Really? Maxine? What'd you do to get her favor?
We just have that certain je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, I don't speak fancy talk.
Yeah, we're we gave her an offer she couldn't refuse.
Is that a hypothetical?
No. Are you able to speak for your group?
Well, it depends on what group you're asking about.
The shapeshifters. Eloise says in a lower kind of voice, even though she knows that nobody's around here. Still,
Well, I can speak for some of those group. Do you speak for your group?
We speak for our prince.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
We speak.
We speak.
Oh.
Close enough.
We speak for our leader.
Oh, yeah, that I understand what that means.
Yes, it's close enough. It's fine.
So, what do you want here?
We've been tasked with the responsibility of meeting with leaders of your kind to basically, we're doing politics. We're doing a little bit of diplomacy so that our groups can get along without fighting. It's a whole thing that our leader wants to do, and we're just here to talk. If you could point us in the right direction. Maxine said that you'd be able to point us in the right direction.
Well, yeah, I guess I could probably do that. Well, see, the main leader, kind of the grouping is yeah, this is a toughie. I don't know if he wants to talk to me necessarily. He's kind of a not high society, kind of like a snobbish prick by the name of.
Oh, hey, maybe I can help with that.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like there's probably a moment where everyone's eyes just go over to Diana, like.
Yeah, he's Fangs of Silver or some.
Fangs of Silver. Isn't that like you people's weakness or something?
I don't know why he picked the name he picked. It's ridiculous and stupid.
Is he like a masochist or something? Like, do you have to worry about somebody who's like.
I mean,
you know what? Never mind.
Technically, yes. I don't know. I don't know. He's a bit of a prick.
Not a fan of silver either, so yeah. Anyway, that's a later problem.
And by a bit of a prick, I mean, imagine somebody who's a bit of a prick, but then turn him into like a 9-foot tall, furry, angry monster thing. And
Got
then
it.
multiply that by about
Except
10.
not.
That's a whole lot of prick. Oh boy.
It's a, yeah.
You know what? Nope.
That's 9 whole feet of prick. Okay.
Gotcha.
Damn.
What she said. Okay, so
I like her. Yeah.
Look, I'm barely like 6 feet, but so how likely do you think we could get an audience with this guy?
It'll take a bit of doing. It'll probably take a couple of days. See, our kind doesn't like your kind, and
it's a conversation. I get that there's tension. I mean, we've been dealing with it, a lot of it, so we're just trying to, clear the air, smooth things out, and see if we can diffuse some of the tension.
yeah, I guess. This is gonna be a pretty tall. There's probably gonna be other of my kind that want to be there. I'll probably show up just for shits and giggles.
Make it happen, and we'll make it worth your while.
Now we're talking turkey.
Or a giggle.
All right, what are we
Make
talking
it happen.
about?
Make it happen as quickly as possible, and we'll make it double worth your while.
Well, you see, I'm kind of a guy of the street. I'm a little streetwise, I guess you could say. And I know that 2 times nothing is still fuck all.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a number in mind, but obviously you have a different number in mind. So let's
That's what I'm
talk
saying.
numbers.
Let's talk turkey.
Okay. What's your number?
What is on the table?
What's your number?
Personally, my number is 6.
All right. You know what? This is how you lose deals. Mm-hmm.
So you want $6 for this?
No.
Okay. Then you're gonna have to be.
Well, you asked me
bit
what
more
my
clear.
number was. You didn't ask me what I wanted.
What number?
There's a difference.
What number do you want? What number in terms of money do you want? Because I know you're going to make this frustrating for me.
Now we're talking.
What do you want?
$10,000.
For this introduction?
Yeah.
Why would I pay you $10,000 for that?
Because I'm assuming your people in charge wanted to meet my people in charge or something along those lines and set up a little deal.
See, I see $10,000 as the price I would pay if you were able to get that for me tonight. Whereas I would see
that's not going to be possible.
if I might, Ms. Trent, how about we do this? And this is your money, so I mean you can say no. But how about we offer $15,000 if it was tonight? Oh, can't do tonight. Minus $1,000 for every night we got to wait.
I would say that would not be a bad idea. Except
you
let's
hustle.
do it let's do it minus. How about I meet you halfway there? How about we do minus 3,000? Because it's gonna be like we need to make sure that this gets done quickly. So, minus 3,000 for every day that you don't get us in touch with these people and don't get us an audience.
Wow. All right. So we're starting at 15,000. Just to be clear.
And if we don't hear from you until tomorrow, then it's 12. And if we don't hear from you until 2 nights from now, then it's 9.
9.
So it's
Easy
in
math.
your. Yeah, you know what, Barker? I like the way you're thinking on this one. This is a good deal. I like this.
All right. I'll see what I can do. Do you guys have like a fucking bat signal or whatever that I can send out?
Phone number at the
Oh,
cloak.
how gauche. Okay.
I don't know. Some of you weirdos can turn into like bats and wolves and shit.
Really? You reading fairy tales or something, kid?
Would you like a contact number or?
Yeah,
And I
probably
look
work.
to Eloise and I say, do we offer up this speakeasy like we did with Maxine?
You know
Do you
what?
have a phone number?
Do I have a phone number?
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Phone
Well, then
number of
that
the
makes
cloak
sense.
works fine.
Yeah. Yeah, here. And Eloise hands the business card for the cloak.
All right.
And
He takes it, and it disappears inside one of his many pockets.
and I will say, you'll know you're at the right place because I'll be on the stage.
Oh, no, no,
Shoot,
no.
dude, wearing
He's not
70s
coming in.
outfit.
Call.
Huh?
Use the phone number on there. Don't come
Yeah.
in.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to be hanging around.
I was just thinking like the mortal side anyway, but whatever. This works too. Find a payphone or something. You still have those, right?
Payphone? No. I just go over here to this like line that's in the thing, and I can just do a bit of wiring, pick up a receiver, and
Okay.
we're good to go.
Okay. I didn't know that was a thing that worked. Sure.
You'd be surprised how many calls I could get from Mel Lastman's number and fucking freak people out back in the day.
That's hilarious. Have a
Speaking,
sense of humor on you.
speaking of jerks. Anyway.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'll go see if I can arrange that. Then I'll give you a
Yeah.
call or whatever.
Yeah, just give us a call.
All right. And then he just wanders off into the darkness.
We can turn around and go back the other way.
Mission
Great.
accomplished, right?
See how that goes. I mean, for this evening, I think we've done what we set out to do here.
Well, we still have hours until sunrise, so I don't know. Everybody up for going back to the club and seeing what's up until we get some words back?
I think that wouldn't hurt, at least for the moment.
Is there anything we can do as to the other task at hand? Like
Not yet. I need to make some phone calls and rattle some chains.
Need to.
On my side, anyways.
I need to hit the streets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
Actually-
need to see if we could find some of those little bastards that showed up.
You know what? Why don't you all head back to the club? I'll rough it and head back over to Savage and make sure Maxine gets paid.
I mean, we
So,
could.
boss.
Are you sure you don't want us to just wait in the car and
I mean, it's up to you. It's a pretty
don't know.
boring one-way trip, or one trip back, one trip there, one trip back. It's
That's
Okay.
okay.
up to you.
I might have some ideas. Anyway that I could potentially work on. I just need to have a think on it. But yeah, I guess we can go back to the club and see you there. We'll send a car back for you or something.
Yeah, that works for me. That works for me. If you want to send the car back once it's dropped you off, and I'll take the streetcar.
Diana is extremely amused by Eloise saying that. Like, I've taken a streetcar in forever.
Call an Uber, you bloody Ventru. Christ's sake.
Yeah.
So you are all kind of. Some of you are heading back to the cloak. Some of you are heading over to Savage Garden to make sure that your contact is paid. And that is a good point in which we can wrap up this particular episode. So, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for any subscriptions or bits you have sent our way. All of the money goes to all the people on screen. And yeah, it's always appreciated. Thanks for any raids or any hosts that have been done. Again, always appreciated, and welcome to everybody who came in via raid. And we will do some quick outros, and I believe Rolling D20s is still off for this week. So we will find somebody to raid, and I'm gonna remind myself in a couple of days, using me right now, to look up somebody to raid. Outros. Let's start off with Anne.
Hi, my name is Anne, also known as XO_Girl_Wonder on Twitter. That's where you can find me to find out what I'm doing, which is a lot all the time, and I can't keep track of it. I was your Toreador Diana Chambers, so, you know, I am having a great time. Can't wait to do this again.
And Prince.
Hey everybody, I'm Prince, also known as Devils and Dice around the internet. I'm a TTRPG / variety streamer over on my channel, twitch.tv / Devils and Dice. You can find me there tomorrow, since we're off for Rolling These 20s until next week. But I'll be there with Wayward Revelry, our D&D 5e campaign based on Wild Beyond the Witchlight, with my own little scary, fun twist added to the game. I am on a ton of stuff and things, though I'm slowing some stuff down. But do make sure you're following me on Twitter for all of the announcements. Make sure you're following Rolling These 20s on both Twitter and Twitch. And if you can, drop us some YouTube love. We'd appreciate the subs. Both of our channels are getting some traction for our games there, so we'd appreciate more.
And Joanna.
Hello, my name is Joanna, and I was playing Eloise Trent for you today. You will find me on Twitter at Hyrule Gardener, and you will find me here Saturdays doing some vampire stuff. This is pretty much the only place where you'll find me, other than some of our YouTube stuff and our Patreon stuff, which fun. Yes, you'll find me on our Vancouver game, but yes, it's all fangs and vampires for me for this little while. And I just want to give a really big shout out to the city of Toronto, and especially to the Toronto Goth community and Paul from Savage Garden for having made such an amazing club that we all loved. And unfortunately, we are no longer able to love, but it's still in our hearts. So it's still in the city for us anyway.
And Cliff.
Hey, folk, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Cliff. I was your Nosferatu Barker this evening. You can find me on the Instagram under the Vintage GM, where I will advertise a variety of things. I'm to be found here Saturdays for the Vampire Takeover, where I'm usually in Vancouver, but Toronto is one heck of a fun place to be. Tuesday nights at 3:30 PDT, 6:30 EDT, you will find me back in Toronto running a motley through a whole mess of stuff for Tales from the Rookery, Toronto by Day, which we would have skipped last week due to real life. But the penultimate season 2 episode will be coming up this Tuesday. Tune in to find out what's going on there. And there are other projects here and there that are going to be popping up. Keep an eye on my Insta or just bother me in chat and I'll let you know what's happening.
And this guy's Storyteller Steve. Again, thank you all for watching. We're going to find somebody to raid, which I probably should have by now. If I haven't, come on, Steve, what are you doing? So, if you want to help us out with regards to any pay for the casts in question, there we go, correct grammar. go over to our YouTube. We are over 1,000 subscribers, which means that everybody who takes a gander at our stuff helps us out. Ads help us out a lot, and you can check us out. There's also a kind of a subscription feature. You can pay, I believe it's $2.50 or $2.79, $2 and something. And you can basically help us out a little bit every month with that, and that is always appreciated. We also have Patreon, which will be over there. For just $1, you get a bunch of our behind the scenes stuff that you can check out. And we also have a merch store, Threadless, which right now, currently, there is a sale going on. So check it out over there. And even with our sales stuff, we have it set up so that 50% of all of our Pride stuff, 50% of that money that we get in goes automatically to the Trevor Project, 20% for everything else, and you get a deal on it right now. I believe it's there's some pretty cheap shirts that are on there right now, but they're not cheap in build. They're actually awesome. They are like just non-expensive for you, so check it out, help us out. All the money goes to the people on screen in all of our various shows. And thank you once again for watching. We are gonna raid, so we will see you next week for part 3 of Toronto by Night. Have a good night, everybody.